this video, I'm going to tell you guys why software developers should know their worth. Being a software developer puts you in a unique position, a position that most people, quite frankly, aren't in. As a software developer, you're going to have a lot more job opportunities out there than a typical person. And because of these opportunities, you have more flexibility. But a lot of software engineers aren't aware of this. So I'm going to cover the two biggest points why software developers should know their worth. The first one being pay. You should know how much you're worth when it comes to pay. And you should also know your worth when it comes to the social environment. So the first thing I'm going to cover is pay. Now, when you're first entering the professional environment as a software developer, you're not sure what you should ask for. And this can be regardless of what state you live in. I know that I looked at a few websites regarding like the pay and what I should ask for. And it all varied. Sometimes it said it was like 70, 80, some said 50, 60. And I was just kind of like, I still was unsure where to go. And the biggest thing that I got was I was reading some book called something without the bullshit. It was something working with no bullshit. It was something like that. And they had like a bull on the cover. But anyways, one of the things that it said is that when you're actually negotiating your salary, do not give them a actual number. You want to give a high and a mid. And that high should be like, I want to say like 30 grand over what you think you're going to get paid. And then you want to have your minimum, your maximum. But anyways, like I said, the pay. You want to know what you're worth as a software engineer. Your first year, you should always focus on that max and min. That should be your main thing because you don't have anywhere else to go. I know for me, from personal experience, I remember that there was a company that liked me. It was at the Cancer Research Institute over at the University of Utah. And they liked me a lot. And I went through, I passed a few of the interviews. The engineers liked me. But when it came to like the actual hiring manager or like the HR person, they wanted to give me 45 grand for my first position. And I told them like, hey, there's no way you're going to pay me that much. You know, there's people who have undergraduate degrees who haven't built anything. There's people who haven't even, who have dropped out of high school who have started with higher rates than this. I was like, you're not going to, there's no way you're going to pay me what you're asking. And then I remember she just lost her stuff. Was like, oh, okay, all right, oh. You know, and then the developer that was online, that was actually on the phone with me, it was a three-way call. He was kind of like trying to calm her down, and he wanted to focus on the code because he was really excited about me. He really liked what I built. And it's hard to find, at least during that time, it was hard to find mobile developers. So he was really talking to me about the code and, you know, trying to explain things with me. As you can see, that woman gave me an actual number. She didn't say this is what we're thinking. She didn't ask me, what do I think I'm worth? You know, it's because she already had in her mind like, hey, this is what we're going to give you, this is what you're worth, etc. Now, if you've been, I want to say coding for, you know, a few years, that's going to put you in a way better position to negotiate. And honestly, after like 2 to 3 years, you could be getting paid six figures. At least, in my opinion, you should be getting paid. I want to say about 110, 120, you should be getting paid within that range. And if you're negotiating, I would say like my minimum is 105 and my maximum is 135. And then, you know what I'm saying, you can say this is where I'm thinking, but this is where my min and max is. And yeah, I will go from there. I will keep it there. And then honestly, those companies, when you speak that confidently, they expect you to be worth what you're worth. You just have to make sure that you know the tool. If you know the tool well, and a lot of people don't speak about this, but you need to build a really good relationship with a lot of these recruiters. For whatever reason, some people really don't like them. I know that I've actually, I guess they were called like sharks or headhunters or something like that. Because I've been to a few like these little meetups, and they're always at the meetups. And then some of the engineers just have a negative attitude towards these recruiters. But honestly, these recruiters are a godsend. They're like, it's like social proof. When a company is trying to hire you directly, they really are all in their head. They really don't know. And they may be a little bit prejudiced as to whatever their internal rules are. You know, they might be really biased to whatever they like. But when a recruiter introduces them to an engineer, it already makes it seem like you're approved. So when you have that recruiter backing you up, you're in a good position to actually negotiate your wage.
I've been thinking about your smile. I've been thinking that I can't let you go. Hey, can you wait a little while? Why we're holding back, I don't know. I guess I'm more confused about you.
Now, the next point that I'm about to make, it actually reminds me of the movie Bad Bosses. I know, I can't remember the name of the actors. I know one of them is Jennifer Aniston. I believe Jennifer Aniston is one of the actors. But one of the male actors, he was saying at the beginning of the movie, he was like, you know, sometimes you got to put up with a bunch of crap to actually get that promotion. And it turns out he never got that promotion. My point is that as a software engineer, you don't have to put up with crap from anybody. You know, you hear stories about people, they're like a slave to their job. You know, they have these stress stories, especially during COVID. People, they're laid off all the time, or people just have a big fear around leaving their job. I actually worked with engineers who had this fear, guys who had more years of experience than I did. But one guy in particular had really high anxiety. He was afraid that he was going to lose his job because they started hiring other engineers, and I was one of those engineers. There's a few of us. But he was the main engineer that's been there for years. He knew the business inside and out. The company was growing. If any of you guys have been in one of those transition processes, when a company, they get bought out and then they have new investors, the size of the company actually increases. So for him, he saw that as job insecurity. And he started hoarding information and things like that. Over time, he started to get better, but he still had that fear. And as an engineer, you really don't have to have that fear. You don't have to put up with crap from anybody. You know, I actually left a position because my boss was giving me crap, unnecessary crap. There was a situation where we had a Christmas party, and his girlfriend, she actually started rubbing my arms and saying, "Oh, you're in really good shape. I love your arms." And she did that one time during the Christmas party. And then right before I left, she did it. He's like, "Oh, I want to rub your arms again." And then I could see my boss's face. And I was telling this dude, I spoke to him the next week. I was like, "Hey, man, like, hey, my bad. Actually, you know," I said, "that's really disrespectful. I was going to call your girl out, but I didn't know how to call her out in front of everybody. I didn't want to, you know, make a scene, even though she already had made that scene." He told me not to worry about it. But it's obvious that, and along with other jealousies that he had, it actually impacted the work environment. Anyways, now when you're in a situation like this, maybe you have a bad situation with your boss or a bad situation with your coworkers, or sometimes I even had guys that I worked with that they were promised certain things by the company and they didn't get what they were actually promised, so they ended up leaving. So I just want you guys to know, just as an engineer, you don't have to, you really can control your environment. There's always going to be opportunities. You don't have to feel like, oh, if things don't go right with this company, I'm going to be like indebted, or, you know, something bad is going to happen. That's really it for this video. That was the point that I wanted to make. I wanted engineers, people who are new to software engineering or people who have been in it for a few years, I want you guys to really know your worth. Because a lot of the world, you obviously can see where the world's going. The world is really becoming tech-based. And a lot of these companies need us more than we need them, to be truthfully. Well, we need each other. We need respect to happen on both sides. And if respect isn't happening from the company, you should definitely leave. And if you aren't respecting the company or the environment, they should fire you. Anyways, you can check out the course, Learning React Native Without the Bullshit. There's a link in the description below. Also, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.